Good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
How's Nairobi so far?
Incredible, wonderful, yeah, excellent. I love Nairobi.
All right, let's start the conversation with what NBA is doing, what NBA Africa is doing, and for us to make it brief and understandable for the viewer back at home and whoever is watching us, give us a brief history of the NBA Africa and how it has evolved.
So great, thanks for having me. So a brief history of NBA Africa. Look, as early as the 1980s, the NBA was traveling to Africa. Former Commissioner David Stern, the late great Dikembe Mutombo, and many others. It was in 2010 that the NBA committed to opening a physical office in Africa, which was in Johannesburg. Now, since 2010, there's been a long history of 3 what we call NBA games between African All-Stars and other against other NBA players. We've done 3 of those in South Africa. We've since opened offices in 4 other countries. We've launched the only league, professional league, that the NBA owns outside of North America, the Basketball Africa League. As I mentioned, we have an office in Nigeria now. We have an office in Senegal, an office in Cairo, and the 5th office that the NBA opened in November of 2023 was here in Nairobi, Kenya. So we have 5 offices now. The Basketball Africa League has just finished its 5th season last week down in South Africa. And the game is growing from strength to strength. We're trying to create a platform or a foundation where eventually millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Africans can play the game of basketball. So that's our goal. We can do that. Then the NBA, over time, will have a business on the continent of Africa. But we've made a huge commitment and a big investment. And you know, it's been 15 years of physical involvement, but this is really still just the beginning.
It's, the level of talent ever since you guys set the foot in Africa, not even in Africa, here in Kenya. I understand there's 10% of players with an African heritage who are playing in the NBA. If I'm not wrong, 10%. Say that the mother was born, say that the mother is African or the father is African, or both of the parents are Africans. Talk about the level of talent ever since you guys set foot in Africa.
Man, so look, that's a great question. Yes, 10%, about 45 players. There's about 450 players in the NBA on the 30 teams, average about 15 players per team. Of those, yes, you're right, about 10%, about 45 that are African. This is not speaking of African American, but are of African descent, one or both parents born on the continent. You know, I came to Africa about 30 years ago and started developing basketball, and it's been clear since then that this is by far, the continent of Africa is by far the largest talent pool on the planet Earth for the game of basketball. Here in Kenya, in particular, you know, we're just scratching the surface. You have a long history of the game here. The game used to be in the school system back in the 70s and 80s, from what I understand, under the Moi era. And your talent, I mean, right now, your most prominent players are your women, right? If you go by the big name players that are emerging out of Kenya, you've got one young lady who I don't think she's ever been to Kenya. Her dad played on the national team, Elizabeth Ododa. She plays for the Connecticut Sun. And then you've got several big-time Kenyan women who are playing college basketball in the United States now. And so, yeah, the talent here is undeniable. We just need to get the infrastructure in place to create opportunities for young people to be discovered, and then help them move on to other opportunities here in Kenya and outside around the globe to harness the talent that exists here in Kenya.
I don't know how you guys are getting it right, because many sports organizations seems to be struggling when it comes to reaching the community, the community. But you guys, what are you doing so special to make sure that every kid from different region, from different social class, talk of Eastlands, and most you guys have invested most on the Eastlands. How are you connecting with the community?
Man, well, I appreciate the credit. I don't think we haven't gotten it right yet. We're trying to get it right, and we're doing some things right, but I do appreciate that. I think, look, we are doing everything we can to get support for facilities to be built. We're still got a long way to go. The great thing about the game of basketball is that you just need a surface, right, and a hoop and a rim. My first basketball rim was, I was a little boy in the States. I took an old basketball tire, and cleaned all the spokes out of it and nailed it against a piece of wood on a tree. That was my first hoop. We are doing what we can to create opportunities so that young kids don't have to do that. But like I said, we still got a long way to go. We are doing what we can, working with the federation here, working with corporates to get the game and make the game more accessible. We just ran the largest youth development program ever conducted in Kenya in partnership with M-Pesa, where we for under 16 youth, we did something in 4 regions, over 2,000 players, identified the top 100, gave them an opportunity to come to a camp in Mombasa, where we've identified some of the top young talent in the country. We're doing things like that with partners, but like I said, we really, humbly, we've got a good start, we've got some good progress, but we have a long way to go.
All right, I'm being told there's something we have to listen to what the NBA guys are saying, or rather the absent from the NBA.
Okay.
NBA Kenya, let's listen to them.